Welcome everybody to this brief webinar on how to use our Hubspot CRM. And this will be quite short, just with the idea of showing you guys the basics of how to use the CRM, the purpose of it, and anything else that you guys might have questions on that we can cover during the next probably 15 minutes, I imagine. So just housekeeping. As I said, if there's any issues with my voice that you can't hear, or if there's any problems with the quality of the picture, then please let me know. If you do have any questions, please just type them in the questions box in the Hangout so that I can cover them at the end. And if there's anything else that isn't covered today, please contact your VP or me directly, and we'll resolve that post this webinar. Cool. So starting off with what is Hubspot? So Hubspot is our CRM, which stands for Customer Relationship. The more customer relationship. Relationship management tool. What that means is that HubSpot allows us to track all of the contacts that we have, all of the deals that we make, all of the companies we work with, all in one place, and we can see that across various LCs across the whole country. What that allows us to do is ensure that there's clear information transferred from one term to the next. As you know, in AIESEC, we quite often have changes in leadership, and that means that it's very easy for us to lose information. HubSpot allows us to not lose that information by having it all in a central location. It also ensures that we're not contacting the same company from different locations. So if Auckland contacts somebody and Vic wants to contact somebody, we're ensuring that that doesn't happen. You can see directly if anybody has contacted that company, who they contacted, who was the person who contacted them, and then you can use whatever process you need to ensure that you're not double contacting that person. This is a long-term solution, so it covers, it's not just for our term, it's for multiple years to come. And the idea is that we put all of our contacts, all of our information in here and all of the deals that we have so that your successors and your successors can read through all of this. This is a vital part of any business, and it's something that we're quite honestly lacking at the moment in AIESEC in New Zealand. So to start us off, this is the HubSpot dashboard that hopefully you can see right now. Yeah. So this is the dashboard that shows you all of the information that you need within HubSpot. So across the top here, you've got all of your menu. The dashboard is what you see in front of us now. The contacts that you have are the individual people. The companies, obviously the companies themselves. Deals are the deals that you may have. For you guys, it will be OGV scholarships. Tasks are like a to-do list that you can set for yourself. Sales tools, unfortunately, we don't have much access to because we don't have the pro version. Feel free to fork out $50 a month for yourselves if you wish to have that, but AIESEC New Zealand can't afford that right now. And finally, the settings, which are pretty self-explanatory. So this is what you'll see when you first log in. You can log in using your AIESEC email. You can log in using Gmail. So you just click on Gmail, then click on your AIESEC email, and you'll get into this everything here. It'll show you a nice picture of you if you've got one, what organization you belong to, so on and so forth. And you'll be first of all brought to the sales dashboard, which is what you see in front of you now. The sales dashboard shows you everything that's going on in the organization at this point in time. It allows you to see the information about, for example, what's happening in the whole organization. The amount of deals that we're likely to have in terms of money that are going through the pipeline right now, how much are likely to be closed, the activity that have recently been happening across the organization, the productivity over the last week. So this is how many emails, how many calls, how many notes have been made, how many tasks, and the sales performance. So different stages of the sales flow, you can see how much we've been performing in those areas. There is also the possibility to add other widgets if you see fit. However, I won't go into that for today. So in this dashboard here, you can see everything that you need to know at the click of a button. However, it won't go very in depth for you. You can set quotas for each individual. You can see that I've set one for Auckland BEICX team and one for myself. that's pretty arbitrary, so don't worry about it too much. However, you can also set them for each individual person. For example, here's Colin. We'll give him $50,000 that he has to achieve. Thanks, Colin, for your contribution. So yeah, you can set quotas here, and that shows up in the information below. Over here, as I said, the recent activity shows just the notes and things that people have been making. It's more of an interesting stream to go through. It's more from a manager's perspective that you'll need to be worrying about that. And the productivity is more important, but mostly for me, just to ensure that across the network, we're achieving the results and we're working towards them effectively. So all in all, honestly, don't spend a lot of time on this dashboard. It's just a nice entry to what you can see. But the bulk of what you do is in the contacts, companies, deals, and tasks tabs. So across here, sorry for my Wi-Fi being slow, you can see the contacts. So the contacts are every single person, individual person, that we as an organization have stored in this database, which is on its way to being fully complete. These people can be associated with a company and can be assigned to owners. And over the left here, you can add filters to create a view. For example, if I wanted to see which LC, if I want to see what Waikato's been doing, I can apply that filter. And these are all the contacts that are currently under the LC of Waikato. Obviously, Soyam's been doing a good job here in creating a lot of contacts. You can also save that to be a view. So I already did this earlier, and it's already like that. Waikato operations, LC name is any of Waikato, and that way I can very quickly check that. So I can add multiple views if I want to, and you guys can do the same for your LCs or for your individual, and for yourselves if you wish to do that. When you first come to this page, if you want to add a contact, the great thing about HubSpot is that it tries to do as much of the work as possible for you. So you can see there that we had Stephen already, but if we add Jonas, if I can spell his name right, what this does is, oh, we've already got Jonas in there as well. Dan. Cool. So if I would add Dane, it doesn't know much about AIESEC New Zealand, but you can add all the information there for her anyway. Blah, 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 blah. So it's very simple to use that. And once you've created that, you can ensure that you put down the most important things are the LC name and the email address, obviously, because otherwise you won't know who to contact. And if possible, their phone number, but I don't know Dan's phone number off the top of my head. So yeah, the most important things is the LC name, so that we can easily track where it's coming from and who's contacting them. The HubSpot owner will automatically default to whoever is putting it in. However, if you wish to change that, you can. And yeah, most importantly, the other stuff there. So once we've created a contact, Dane pops up here. And as I was trying to show before, because of her email address, Dane is automatically added to the AIESEC database. So if you see down here, it's automatically decided that Dane is part of AIESEC New Zealand. And it automatically fills the information about AIESEC New Zealand as well. So it's not perfect, especially with New Zealand companies, and especially with not-for-profits like ourselves, where a lot of the information might not be on our website. But just by using that last part of the email address there, it's able to figure out what company Dane is from. So that's very cool. It saves a lot of the work for yourself. That's probably the harder way to do it as well. As you can see, Dane just pops up here. The company name has not popped up. I'm not sure why, but it hasn't. And you can change this around as well if you wish to by editing the columns over here. I'm not going to go through that now. Companies is very similar to contacts in terms of how you set it up and the views. So the views are the same. You can choose if I wanted to look at things that have been given the category business. There's only 3 here, but these have been put under business. Very simple. Again, if you want to add a company, same thing here. It tries to take as much of the work out of the way for you as possible. So if we put in our organization's website here, it fills in the name, but again, not much else because unfortunately we don't have the to figure out. Key things here for you to be aware of: the industry isn't so important, but definitely the LC, again, which LC is looking after it. So what are you acting this person, or where does it purpose? And same thing goes, you create a company, it pops up over here. So this is all of the companies, and again, you've got everything there for you. Deals is where a lot of the magic happens. Where you actually put in the impact that you're having. So we have a deal set up called the OGV Scholarship. That is what you guys will be doing with a lot of the companies that you're working with right now. And you can assign different deal stages depending on where they are. So the point here is, as soon as this person has replied to an email, they've been contacted, and that's when you can create a deal for them, right? And roughly at this point in time, the estimate is that it'll be about 10% of likelihood that you'll close the sale. Along this path, you go through the sales flow. So you have a first meeting, a second meeting, possibly a third meeting, so not recommended. You send out a proposal, send out a contract, they sign the contract, and then finally they've paid the money to us. It tells us, congratulations for closing that deal. So according to Hubspot, it's just put $10,000 into our successful work this month. So thank you, Stephen, for that donation. Inside the deal, you can find a lot of the information about what you've done in terms of contacting this person, and I'll come back to this stuff shortly. But again, it syncs across all of the information that you have. So under AIESEC New Zealand, it's already got the company and the company's information there. The contacts is specifically under Stephen. And these are all linked into each other. So under Stephen, it shows me what deal are there. It shows me the deals under here, and it shows me his company here as well. So again, HubSpot works to try and make everything as simple as possible for us. Okay, tasks. Task is basically a to-do list for you. It's really up to you whether you use this or not. I know each of us and everybody really has their own different ways of measuring their tasks and how they're achieving. However, in this particular case, it is quite useful for when you're doing things like emailing or calling companies through the software. So what you can do is set up tasks. For example, here I have email Stephen and email Air New Zealand. These are just sample ones that I made. And you can check those up. You can associate them with the contact. You can actually queue them as well. So what queuing it does, it allows you to work very efficiently by going one by one through the tasks that you have here. Because this is associated with Air New Zealand, if I hit start queue, it will take me straight to Air New Zealand's page. From here, I can email them, I can call them. You have to get HubSpot Pro to do this, but you do get 15 minutes free, as you can see here. Calling actually routes it through your phone as well, so it looks like it's coming from your number. So it's a very useful tool, but again, 15 minutes isn't a lot. You can create more tasks for them. You can schedule for what you're going to have a meeting with them, or you can just add a note, something that you've noticed about them or some interaction that you've had with them. Most useful thing is emailing them directly. And through there, once you've done that, you see you've done this, and now you've got one more task, so you skip to the next one. And here you go. You also said that you need to email Stephen, as it says up here. So we can get that done too and tick off all your tasks. So basically just queues everything up for you. You can get it done in one go. So move forward to the sales tools. As I said earlier, the sales tools aren't something that we can use a lot of because we don't have Sales Pro. Again, that's $50 per person per month. So it's a pretty high cost and not something that we're at the level of activity that we really need to use that at this point in time. However, there are a few things we can use. Basically, we can create templates to use within the team and move those around to reflect the OGV scholarship. Sequences we can't use, documents we can't really use, prospects. Okay, none of that we can use. So a lot of this stuff here isn't very useful to us right now. Settings, not so important. For the most part, you won't need to access this. You are able to edit the contact properties, the company's properties, so if you've got different things that you want to put in there, such as the LC name. However, if you do want to do that, you'll need to talk to your VP because they'll need to approve it, or they'll need to do it themselves. You are able to import any information that you want to through here. So you're using tracking within your own LC. You can upload a CSV file or an Excel file straight into here, and it will put everything into categories for you very easily. So that's very useful if you're using a separate spreadsheet or your own separate tool to manage this. The only other thing useful in settings here, and you can go through it yourself, is the team. Of course, if you do need to invite other team members who don't currently exist or make new members, then you're able to do that quite simply by clicking on here, giving their email and their first and last name, and that will invite them. So that's very simple. None of the rest of the settings are particularly relevant. There are back to shortly. But for now, we'll just look at the sales flow that we go through. So first of all, if you want to contact a company, the whole point of having this CRM is that you won't be contacting anybody who's already been contacted. So say you and your team have decided you want to contact Air New Zealand. The first thing you need to do before you contact anybody is come into here and see if Air New Zealand exists. Here it does. So this was created last December. So we can see that this person's already likely to have been contacted, and they've already had a key touch point. However, if we look in here, we see through the notes that there's a task that I've made just today, and there's nothing else here. So there's nobody who's actually contacted this person according to the CRM. So what that means is that we are able to contact them, but we can also see who made this. So this was Emma Forbes. It's got her email address there, so whether it's you now or it's somebody 3 years in the future, they can look back and say, oh, Emma, okay, I'll find her and see what her interaction was with Air New Zealand. So I would contact Emma and just say, hey, I saw that you've put Air New Zealand in the system. Just wondering if you've had any contact with them already. Emma would probably tell me no. You told me not to contact them because you wanted to contact them. Okay, cool. So we know that they haven't been contacted before. You can ask Emma if she has any major contacts, which there is one down here. And from there, you guys can coordinate whether or not you should contact them. But the key thing here is always just to check. Okay, so once you've checked that and Emma's said, yep, no, it's okay, I haven't contacted them, I don't have anybody to contact, so do whatever you can to contact them, that's cool. You can send them an email. And the easiest way to send them an email is by creating the company or viewing the company here. And as you may have noticed before, you can set up your own email signature and everything inside Hubspot, which is done through the settings, or you can do it in this page here as well. So you can set up your email signature so it looks like just like you're sending from your Gmail or wherever you send from. When you send through there, it sends it all and it tracks it for you. So it puts it automatically logged into the system, and you can also set it to track whether the person opens it or not. So you can do that. You've sent them an email. At this point in time, there's no need to do much else until you get a reply from them. There's no real reason to create a deal because you're just going to block it up with a whole lot of leads. The point at which you will create a deal is when they reply to you. Then you've got something happening. If the reply just says, please don't talk to us ever again, then it's not a deal. But if something starts happening there, that's when you're going to come down here and you're going to say, create a deal. And it'll pop up across here. You can name it whatever you want. New deal is fine. There's no standard around that. The pipeline, you guys will want to be using OGV Scholarship. In this case here, if they've just emailed back to us saying, hey, yeah, we'll be keen to have a meeting with you, cool. We've only contacted them. We haven't done anything else. We haven't had a meeting with them or anything like that. At this stage, it's pretty hard to say, but let's just estimate that they'll be keen to sponsor one person, so $750. Don't have to worry about too much of this other stuff. If you do have a date of the meeting, cool, you can whack it in there, but again, not too important. Date of contact is quite important, but not the end of the world if you do miss it. So easy just to chuck in whatever date you were talking to them so that the next person who looks back can see whether or not or when you last contacted them. Opportunity link, this is specifically for AIESEC, so you guys won't have to worry about it. If you do, then you can talk to me at the time in order to figure that one out. The company is obviously Air New Zealand, and you can add different contacts to it. We don't have any contacts associated with Air New Zealand, I don't think, but you can add any contact you want to the deal. Okay. It's good to have that there so that people who look at the deal in the future know who you were talking to at the time. So if I wanted to go back and approach New Zealand in a year's time and I saw that Emma had this deal with them that got to, maybe it got to proposal stage. And you could see in the context that the person contacted was Stephen Zorab. Congratulations to him for working at New Zealand now. Then you could go back and email Stephen and say, hey, I know we last spoke to you a couple of years ago, and we got to the stage where we sent a proposal through to you. I was just following up to see what more we could have done, or if there's any change in the circumstances that mean we could continue with that proposal. So it just gives the next person who uses this the information they need to easily contact or get in touch with whoever they need to and work with this company without having to start anew. Cool. So when you create a new deal, you've got all of this information here. This is all tied in with all of the other things that Stephen's tied in with, all the things that Air New Zealand's tied in with. So the task that we created to email Stephen is automatically put in here. The task to email Air New Zealand also already put in here. And again, we can change the deal stages as we need to do. We've closed that one there. Cool. Going back a bit, when you first need to add companies, once you've added them in, you can look at the information that exists within here. And there won't be too much that you need to change, but there can be other things that you can change around if you need to. So things like related companies or some of the more in-depth information through the properties here. But then you can add different properties across in here. Cool. So yeah, the first thing that you need to do, just to recap, check if the company exists. If not, you can create the company. If you've created the company, perfect, send them the first email, whether that's through Hubspot or elsewhere, and make sure that you log that so we know that you've contacted them. If they don't reply or they aren't interested, then you can just make a note within the company saying, contacted, the person is not interested. Again, if they are interested in a meeting or moving further forward with AIESEC, then we can make a deal. Another way to do this, which I find a lot easier, is to use the add-on HubSpot Sales. So if you go to the Chrome Web Store, if you're using Google Chrome, I think you have to for this to work, you can find the HubSpot Sales tool here. What the HubSpot Sales tool does is allows you to put everything into the CRM using your Gmail account. So if you don't want to use this and put in your own details and the signature and everything just to make it another step for yourself, you can do it straight through your Gmail like you're probably already doing. What this will do is allow you to send emails to Jonas Kammerman, for example, and log it to the CRM. So this will automatically create a CC, oops, a BCC, sorry. Oh, works differently here. It will automatically put it through into the company, into the contacts. It'll create Jonas Kammerman, it'll record the email that you sent to him, and it will also add the company over here if needs be. So that's honestly much easier to do than it is to go through this way here or to manually add a contact to a company. You can also use the templates. As I said, there are some created. We can only use a maximum of 5. You can use the templates in that email to make it a lot easier for yourself. The way that I do this personally is another way that you can use it, which is to use your Outlook. It uses Outlook, but for me, this is what I use to manage all of my email accounts. And again, you can download it and you can use the templates, the sequences, the documents that we can use without the Pro, and you can automatically use those and create them. HubSpot, as I said before, will BCC that person so that HubSpot knows that you emailed Stephen Zorab. You can add the company and check up on Stephen Zorab's details over here. You can track whether he opens it or not. It will notify you if he's opened the email or when he looks at it. And you can make sure that it tracks whether or not you are successfully, or whether or not you're emailing them and when you're emailing them. So it takes a lot of the time out of you having to record your activities. If I were to do this to myself, over here, it changes the information to myself. If I did this for a new person, Might not be in there yet. Oh yeah, just have it. Rodrigo, for example. So this is Rodrigo's international email, which shouldn't be in there. What I'm able to do here is change or add him to HubSpot directly from this. It's over there. As it says, it's automatically added in. And over in HubSpot, you now have Rodrigo's contact here. Because of his tagline, you're able to see that he's automatically associated with AIESEC in Brazil. It has a lot more information from Brazil as well, so it's got all of this information automatically added in, and this was just straight from my Outlook, and the same can apply over here in Gmail. So that's a really useful way to add companies and contacts, especially when you're wanting to contact a lot of people in a row. You may not want to have to come in here every time and add a new company or add a new contact. You can literally just email them and use the HubSpot add-on in order to achieve that. If you wish to find the Outlook add-on for anybody who does use it, it's as simple as searching HubSpot Sales Outlook, and it'll come up for you. You guys can do that in your own time. So all the information comes up here on how to install this HubSpot Sales email extension. So when you're contacting lots of people, the two ways to do it are either A, to use the tasks and queue up all the tasks that you want to do. And if you've already got them in the system here, then you can easily just go through the queue and start emailing them that way. The other way is, of course, to email them individually, but create the contact through doing that as well. So it takes a lot of the stress out for you. Some other things that I wanted to mention is that there is a HubSpot CRM app for your Android. I believe there's one for iPhone as well, but can't guarantee that. So this app is still in beta. It's not anything amazing at this point in time, but it does allow you to add and view your contacts on your phone. So if you're out and about and you really feel the urge or the need to add an email or add any information about a contact, it's great for just after a meeting if you're concerned about any notes that you might forget. You're able to put that onto your phone. And again, just search HubSpot in the Google Play Store and that will come right up for you. Cool. So those are most of the apps and things that you can use with HubSpot to make it easier for yourself. As one last recap for you, the main things that you need to do, first of all, before you contact anybody at all, you need to check in the HubSpot to see if that company has been contacted. If it has, then contact the person who contacted them and just find out what the status of that is and whether or not you can contact them yourself. This is really important now as we move to everybody doing the same thing across the country. There can be crossover there. It's also important for me because I need to know who you guys are contacting and let you know if any of them are people that I've already contacted or intend to contact. Because we cannot have a national person contacting them after the LC because that will reflect badly on the organization. As you do that, once you've done that, send them the email. Again, you can do that directly through HubSpot by creating the contacting and sending them the email, or by using your Gmail or Outlook extension, and that will create it all for you. Assuming that that goes well, your email will come up in here. You can leave a note saying, Rodrigo was a nice guy. And that note will save there. So anybody who comes back in 3 years' time can see that on April the 30th, we decided Rodrigo was a nice guy. Again, if you email them, if you call them, log the activity in here. My best recommendation for calling would be to do it all at once. Get it all out of the way in one go. Queue up all the people that you need to call and the tasks, and then start the queue. And then as you call them, you can go into the person, log the call. Just log activity, log call, describe it, didn't pick up, or didn't pick you up. Cool, done. Now we know for the future. Or you can just select that and just log it. Okay, at the very least, just log it in there with the outcome that is there. Yep, and then assuming that they do pick up or that you do get a reply email, again, just to reinforce it, create the deal. Make sure you select the right pipeline, all the information, create it, and then follow through the deal process as you go. From then onwards, any information that you do need to add, you can add into this here. So the deal itself, log any new emails, new calls, new activity, anything that happens in here into the deal, and we'll track that. And that allows me and your VP to track everything that's going on. Again, if you do end up sending a contract or proposals that are specific to the company, upload them here into the attachments down the bottom so that you're able to come back to that later on, or anybody in the future can as well. Once that's all done, and hopefully you guys are very successful with that, stored, and we can actually look back at it using that dashboard. Enough tonight to have closed another $1,000. Good night for us. On the front page here, you can now see the $1,000 comes up. And here we have our quota for the month. And at the moment, you can see that it's increased slightly down the bottom there. At a proportion. So VPs later on about setting quotas for the next month, just so that you guys are tracking in terms of how much you should be closing in terms of scholarships for each of you. Cool. So that's using HubSpot. If there's any questions, then I'll flip over to here now. I can't see any questions coming up. So yeah, any questions that you guys do have that I haven't covered right now, please post them up quickly here. And we'll just leave it open for 5 minutes or so to see if there's any other questions or anything that you guys come up with. Otherwise, if you don't have anything else that you do want to say, or you don't have any further information that you require, then feel free to leave now. And within an hour, this will be posted up online so that you can share it with the rest of your team or with your VPs or whoever else isn't here today. So yeah, any questions? We've got about 5 minutes just to post them up here. Otherwise, thank you guys for coming along, and I hope you guys are a bit more clued up on using HubSpot now. Cool. Ellen, as you're the last one here, feel free to unmute your microphone. And just let me know, what was the attachments thing you were saying before?
On you were on the deals, and then you clicked on attachments, and I kind of like blanked out at that moment, and I just want to know what you were referring to, like. Yeah.
No worries. Yeah. So if you go into the new deals, like here, so when we're doing the deals, right, part of the process is that we have to send out proposals and contracts to them.
Yeah.
If it's a generic proposal that you're sending, obviously we've already got that on something. So down the bottom here we have add attachment, and that's where you'd put things like contracts that you've sent out to the company, especially the signed copy as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sweet. All right.
So any personalized documents. There is, just as a side note to you, an add-on as well. I'm not sure if you've used or heard of PandaDocs before, but they're a website that allows you to, that's not PandaDocs, that allows you to track and send documents that get signed. So you can add that on as well, and that can be all added and incorporated into HubSpot, which is quite cool.
Wait, what was that thing you were saying? PandaDocs or something?
PandaDocs, yeah. I don't know where it's gone right now, but
oh, PandaDocs.
Yeah. So PandaDocs here allows you to create and send all of these things that you see here. So it allows you to do contract management. As it says here, you can merge the contract templates with CRM data. So if you wanted to, it works cross with HubSpot. So if you wanted to create a contract and automatically input the company's name or address or something, it can do that. You can change around proposals and things, get quotes that are done, and most importantly, get them to sign it and track it all within the HubSpot. So you can send that to them over HubSpot, get them to send it back, and it's all already in the system for you.
Oh, sweet. Will the information be posted up later on? Like the PandaDocs?
What about PandaDocs?
Yeah, about PandaDocs, yeah.
Yeah, can do. It is like it's a premium product, so you can get a free trial. And I haven't used it enough to say how useful it will be on free trial and things like that.
All right, yeah.
I'll have to look through because I only discovered it myself recently, so I don't have a lot of information on it.
Oh, fair enough. That's pretty much me. Thanks, Danny.
Cool. Sweet.
Sweet. Have a good night, man. See ya.
Awesome. You too. Thanks for coming.